Welcome, everybody. This is the Bold Impact Summit in the Gather community, October 9, 2025, day 1 of 2. I love our 2-day summits and the way that these unfold because it's not so long that we have this stretch of day ahead of us. And which I guess I shouldn't say that because going into December, we're going to have the stretch of day ahead of us. It's just a whole different kind of a feeling. We get to come together for just a few hours today to really connect and learn from each other, learn from just being together, but also the expertise of our amazing speakers, all of whom are Gather community creators for this event. We have 9 speakers over the course of these 2 days. 5 of them will be today. 3 of them will be here coming up right now. So if you haven't been to one of our events before, here's a little bit of lay of the land. We start off with the breakout that we just completed, and then we go into our first of, in this case, 3 speakers. Each speaker is going to have 30 minutes. And at the end of those 3 speakers, we're going to have breakout rooms for each speaker, similar to if you were at an in-person conference and you went at the end of the round and went to their table. The breakout room is like them having a table. So you get to choose whose breakout room you want to go to ask them more questions, connect more, connect more strongly, fully, whatever. Tell them how what they said had an impact on you. And maybe you want to get some information about continuing on with them. But on that note, you don't have to wait to find out more about each of our speakers because we have all of them and all of their free gifts for you listed on our summit resource page. Paula's going to throw that link in the chat. You'll find pictures of all of our amazing, lovely ladies with a button that is find out what they have to offer, find out what they have to offer, all their freebies. Erica, for example, I love this. I just have to share it because I love Erica's. Erica is always talking about making her live apple pie because Erica is vegan. It's a whole raw food situation. She loves the fresh food. She's there with an apple, I think, in her hand right now, even. And so her freebie is a video of her making the pie and the recipe so that you can also do the same. And
It's actually an audio because I
oh,
somehow
it's an audio.
accidentally
Oh, right.
deleted. I deleted accidentally the video, but the audio is there and the recipe's there and me holding up
And a
a
picture.
pie.
Yeah, that's what I had in
Is
my mind
there.
was the picture of you holding the pie. I was thinking that that was a thumbnail.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's great. So I want to shout that out because I just love it. But every one of our speakers has something for you, a freebie to offer. Now, not everyone is here at this moment, so you may experience these speakers, you may not experience them. And especially if you know your schedule, oh, I'm going to be here for this morning, but I'm going to miss later, or I'm here today, but I'm going to miss some of tomorrow. Grab those freebies. Even if you miss the speaker, learn a little bit more about them, see what they're offering, because maybe it's the thing that you're looking for. I don't know what you're looking for. I can't speak to that, but maybe it is. And you might as well take a look. It's a gift from them to you. So accept your gift, right? Receive, allow yourself to receive, and then see where it takes you. You just never know. So that is the story of the Summit resource page. We've got that in the chat. On that page, additionally, there is a button that says complete our Connect form. And I want to just touch on this briefly before we start. The Connect form gives you the chance to continue these conversations after the summit is over. So you can say, I want to connect with Teresa. I want to connect with Stephanie. I want to connect with Kat. Whoever the speakers are, maybe you are seeing them and you want to connect with them further, or you're going to miss them and you want to learn more about them, you can connect with them. So you can check their names on there. We will give them your contact information so they can reach out to you. You don't have to do a thing. The other thing that's on the Connect form is we offer, do you want to be randomly connected to someone else who's in the summit? We take that. If you say yes, we take everyone who says yes, we put you on a list, we mix you all up, and then we pair you up and send you each other an email, and you can have a random universal mystery one-on-one. The other thing that's on there is some of the things we have coming up. We have several hosted workshops in the Gather community coming up here in October. Paula's doing one, Katerina's doing one, Jana's doing one. Katerina, I know will be here later. Or tomorrow, I don't know. Anyway, they'll probably both show up at some point. But so they're all doing workshops this month. We just have lots of stuff. And if you are not a VIP, like learning about what that looks like, if you are, just making sure you know what's coming up. So we don't forget, we do have 2 networking events this month as well. We have our regular monthly Biz Connect, and we have a new round of the Connect Fest, which we did in July. We're doing that again here at the end of the month. So lots of opportunities for you to connect, learn, grow, make friends, have fun, all of the good things that we do together here in the Gather community. So that's that. Now let's get to the main event. We're going to kick off with our first speaker of the day, one of my business besties, Stephanie Flanders-Martin. As you heard Stephanie a minute ago, Stephanie is all about travel and retreats and connecting in community. Like, she's all about a lot of things, but today she's going to be talking about, on the travel side of her world, about collecting memories and building community. She touched a little bit on her trip to Vietnam and Cambodia, and that she was with a group of women and they had an impact on some of the locals, but also that, of course, had an impact on them. I'm sure she'll share a little bit about that. But the reason for travel with women to collect memories and building community is what she is all about and what she's going to share. She also supports me with working on my next retreat. So she does her own things. She helps other people, all the things. So Stephanie, I don't know, I guess I'm not as formal because we talk like every week, all week long. So I probably should have had a better plan for an introduction, but that's what I got today. I want to welcome you to the Gather Community Bold Impact Summit. Please take it away.
Thank you, my friend. And it was absolutely perfect. Anything that comes from the heart is really the best introduction that there could be. And I'm just going to start my timer so I watch my time, because when it comes to travel, my friends, I can talk all day long on travel. So I'm going to start today actually with sharing a little bit more about my recent trip. So I literally just landed last Friday after flight delays and postponements and all the things that happen when it comes to travel, from Vietnam and Cambodia. And I was there for 2 weeks. This was a retreat that was put together by my friend, Darina Naray. She's a world famous photographer. She's had many of her works posted throughout the world. And she wanted to do a retreat where she gathered a small community of people and taught techniques of photography. And one of the things that I was really excited about was we used our iPhones. Some people brought their professional camera gear because they do a lot more professional work. But of course, I just wanted to learn strategically, how do I use my iPhone in a better way? So we learned that throughout the week. But what I loved about this retreat was it was 10 people. We did 3 days on land in Vietnam. We did a 7-day river cruise up the Mekong River through Vietnam and Cambodia. And we did 3 days post-trip in Cambodia. Now, what was interesting about this trip is it is one of the very few times that I have hosted a retreat where I only knew a few people on the retreat. So this was an interesting gathering of people that were friends of Darina's, or a few people she didn't even know that were friends of her, friends of mine, or we brought together. What really unfolded was pure magic, my friends. Sometimes when you get a group of people together, you're not sure what's going to happen, but the magic happened day one at breakfast. Everybody getting to know each other, everybody having conversations, learning more about each other. And what I really appreciated was Darina had really curated this as a cool experience, but the people she brought together for this trip was surely magical. And I will tell you that forever I will be in touch with this community of people, because they have now not only become, an acquaintance or a name on a paper for me as I did the travel arrangements, but people that I have truly treasured and created memories with. And that's what we're going to talk about. People can make your travel unforgettable. So I thought what we would do is start with a little participation first. So I'm going to have Paula put a question in the chat, and I'd love for you to all respond to that question, or whoever would like to. Think about your favorite travel memory. Where were you, or who are you with, and what made that travel memory so special? We're going to start by connecting with how people can make our travel memories special. And I'm grateful for all these deep relationships that I've now formed. In fact, Vince and Scott live in San Francisco, and we've already planned when I'm there next. And every trip now we'll get to go see them. So that's neat too. Okay, so the luminescence of the waters in Thailand. For 100% Thailand is one of my happy places. I love it. I've been there 3 times, and I would go every year if I could. Niece's wedding. How special, Christy. Oh, how special. I bet that was amazing. Tracy, being in London with your kids. Totally sleep deprived and yeah, sleep deprivation is does crazy things to you. But I have a solution for that, as you well know. The Connection of the Mountains retreat in Asheville. I love this. Kathy just got back from Italy. Oh, Kathy, you went to Italy. Oh, I can't wait to hear more about that. Still jet lagged. Yeah, that'll get you. But I have a solution for that. I will tell you. Gina in Yosemite. Great. Oh yes. I have everything set up now, Kat. I'll send you that link today too. Flash flood in Zion, trip to Italy with girlfriends. Oh my gosh, you guys, isn't this amazing? And isn't it just this touch point and reminder that when we're with special people or we meet special people, Tina feeling history in Europe, how it really makes our travel so much more interesting. Today, you're going to hear me speak specifically on 2 of my values, but I want to start back and step back a little bit at the beginning of values and just give you a little touch point of history on that. So in 2002, when I was working as a vice president of development and training for a company, I got certified to teach Franklin Covey. And the time management. And time management is my jam. I love it. So anytime I can dive deeper into time management and really immerse myself in how can I better manage my time, etc., I just love it. So one of the things that when you learn the concept of time management through Franklin Covey is the first thing, you learn nothing about a calendar. The first thing you do is dive deep into your values. Because as you learn when you manage your time, when you are not managing your time around things that matter most to you and around your values, those things can become time wasters, can become things that are not things that you should focus on. So I thought it important for us to start with a definition of core values, and that is a standard of behavior, one's judgment that is important in one's life. 6 of my core values that developed out of that experience with Franklin Covey, and I have since edited and really honed in on these, are my relationships are really important in my life, my friendships, my family. So relationships are key. If I'm not managing my time around relationships, things go south for me. Learning is important to me. Ray Kroc said, when you're green, you're growing. When you're ripe, you're rotten. So always staying fresh and in a place of learning for me is important. Creativity, I love to be creative. I am a very curious person. When I don't have an answer, I go down rabbit holes. But the 2 things I want to focus on today are adventure and community. And those are 2 very important pieces in my life that I plan a lot of things around. Now, one thing you'll notice as I start talking about these 2 core values is some of the other touch points of the other core values start to pop into those two experiences as well. Let's start with adventure. My friends, when you think of adventure, adventure is not always about thrill seeking. It can mean that for some people. For me in my life, adventure is not about thrill seeking, because I am not the person that is going to go skydiving. Off my bucket list, never has been on my bucket list. I am not the person that's going to bungee jump. I value the place that my back is in right now, and I couldn't ever do it, and it would scare me too much. But what I do love about adventure is it's all about, for me, growth, about curiosity, about breaking out of my routine. And it's also about exploring the unknown. And the unknown doesn't have to be scary. And I'll share a little bit of a story about that in a moment. Why adventure matters to me is it builds confidence and resilience for me. It helps me to create stories and memories that have lasted a lifetime for me and have really made an impact on my life. As you heard with my recent experience with the children, it inspires creativity. And for me, it gives me a fresh perspective on life. One of my favorite experiences was in a small village in Italy. My ex-husband, but husband at the time, and I had taken our children. I think Sunny was 11 and Nicole was 9. And we chose to take them to Italy. My ex-husband is half Italian and speaks fluent Italian, lived in Rome for many years. So as we got to Rome and experienced Rome and just the craziness of Rome, but yet the history of Rome, I loved it. We went to Tuscany. I love the art and the experience of the art scene in Tuscany. And one day we decided to go to a small little village that was, I think it was really more kind of we tripped on it type thing, and started exploring the streets. My husband and son went off in one direction. My daughter and I went off in the other. And we both realized, my daughter and I, that we were so hungry, we needed something to kind of get us through. So I walked up to this small little pizza place and looked at this gentleman and said, "I'd like to get a slice of pizza." And he stared blankly at me, like, "I have no idea what you're saying." And it was at that moment that I thought, oh, this is going to be a challenge. He spoke no English, my friends. He was an older gentleman, and most places in Italy, many people do speak English, but this gentleman spoke none. So for me, the challenge became, oh, how can I engage this person? We started pointing at things, and he would share that word in Italian and I would share it in English. And as this conversation unfolded, after about 10 minutes, we got to a slice of pizza. But to me, the curiosity of learning from this gentleman and the common language of a smile and of kindness was such an adventure for me. So that's how adventure has truly unfolded in my life, is with this sense of childlike curiosity, with this sense of learning, and with this sense of wanting to grow and break out of my routine. I normally would never have just walked up to some random person and asked them that type of question, but it was in that moment of a need that I felt safe to stay curious and to connect with this person. So my friends, it's an example that adventure doesn't have to be about jumping off a bridge in with a bungee cord on you. It can be as simple as just going into the unknown and experiencing the unknown. So I'd like to do a breakout here, and I want to Paula's going to set us in groups of 2. And what I'd like to do for just 2 minutes, so each person is going to take 1 minute. And the question I'd like you to answer is, what is one thing that you've always wanted to try but haven't tried it? And you can relate it to travel if that's helpful. If it's a place that you've always wanted to go, it's completely up to you, but we're just going to do a quick 2-minute breakout. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll come back together and share some of those experiences. My friends, I hope you came up with some amazing things. I'm really, really grateful for Erica and I spent some time connecting about a couple of things that we really want to do, and we connected it with a couple of her core values too. So if you want to pop it in your in the chat, I would love to hear some of those, but I'm going to keep going so that I stay on track. Tracy's got me on the stopwatch, and I've got my clock going too, and I don't want to miss an opportunity. So I'm going to wrap up the adventure part by giving you a quote, because many of you have seen me speak before. I love quotes. And my quote around adventure is, traveling, it leaves you speechless, then turns you into a storyteller.
Mm.
And that's one thing I just love about traveling. So let's go to community. I want to talk a lot about community because we're in the Gather community. Tracy has culminated this amazing group of women. Now, this recent trip that I took was a community of mixed men and women. So we had some husbands there. We had a husband and husband couple there. I brought my best friend from high school of 50 years, which was amazing to spend 12 days with my friend from high school. We got all caught up. But traveling as a community of like-minded women or like-minded people is really all about supporting and encouraging each other. What community does is it really helps you build trust, helps you build connection, and it helps you build a sense of belonging. Or maybe I should say it makes you feel like you belong to this community of amazing friends. And I think one of the benefits, or many benefits there are that come from this traveling in a community, is you feel safer, you feel comfortable, you feel like it's okay to experience new things in this community. There's always lots of laughter and fun. You develop lots of inside jokes, lots of shared memories. In fact, this morning, one of the things I learned when I was in Vietnam, I took our group, not just me, but we took a salted cream Vietnamese coffee class. So I'm drinking my salted because I brought a fin back with me, one of how they make it. And I've been making those in the morning, and just continues to bring those memories and bubbles up those memories for me. So let's see. Where was I going with the memory? Oh, and it builds deep, lasting friendships and relationships. That's where I was going with that. So I just wanted to connect all that together because you have those shared experiences. I mean, Kat, Dr. Sandy, Katarina, I don't think is on, but Kat and Dr. Sandy were in Thailand with us, and we have lots of stories and things we can tell you about the elephants. So just the sense of community and the stories that you can tell when you come back, I think also is the best part of community. Now, Kat and Dr. Sandy will be able to understand what I'm going to talk about next, because one of my favorite things to do when I go to another country is to take a cooking class. And this past summer, we all got to take a cooking class in not only Thailand, but I also did that with my group in Vietnam. And my gosh, my friends, it is so much fun because food is a common language, right? We all eat. And there was some of us, I'm a vegetarian. I was in a community of people that ate meat. So, the instructor did a great job of adjusting just for me. And then, of course, people were curious about why mine was different and got to taste that. The cool thing in both of those classes was we were allowed to spice our food to our level. So if somebody wanted to try what somebody else has created, or they put a little bit more of this in there or none of that in there, it was really fun to connect. So the common language of cooking for me and enjoying that kind of an experience is such a cool community event. We're around these big tables, cooking together, sharing laughter, watching each other have fun. I mean, Kat and Sandy can relate with those pummeling of the spices, making our own curry. I understand why you buy curry now and why I will never make it at home. But my friends, so much fun. And so I just wanted to share, some of the takeaways from those experiences are not only do we get to be in community when we're doing that, but for example, one of the things, and I'm sharing what we recently did, the instructor gave us her cookbook as part of coming home from Vietnam, and the recipes we made are actually in here, and this cookbook is amazing, my friends. So I get to continue to experience the salted cream coffee class. We got a recipe card. So those memories can continue to unfold. And, you know, as we tweak things or have fun with that. So when has a group experience or friendship made something more meaningful to you? I want to pop that in the chat this morning and talk a little bit about that. Have you ever had an experience or, you know, been in some type of a community and a new friendship has unfolded or become really meaningful for you? Kat, in the mocktail class, that was fun, wasn't it? Yeah, we had some, I actually have that recipe book right here too. We can make mocktails. That was really fun, yeah. Sometimes it's just gathering around a table and being able to talk about just experiences in life, commonalities, differences. I mean, having discussion around differences about why we eat things the way we, you know, why we cook things the way we do, or, you know, why we don't add this or why we don't add that. That's fun too. Bond over thrift shopping. Oh my God, Leah, I love thrift shopping. When we get together, let's do that. I love thrift shopping. There's the thrill of finding something, a treasure, right? Christmas in Cannes. Oh, how wonderful. How fun. That's amazing. I love that, Gina. In El Salvador, how cool, Teresa. I love that. Yeah. So you can see how the community thing starts to really just be so heart touching, right? So let's tie those two together. So we've talked a little bit about adventure. We've talked about how adventure doesn't have to be thrill seeking. It can really be more about curiosity or growth or an unknown experience that you want to try. It can be, you know, tying those together, doing that as a community. So it could be doing a cooking class together. Well, I've never cooked Thai food, so that was a new experience. I've never cooked Vietnamese food. That was a really new experience for me. I always enjoy tasting it or eating it, but doing that has been really cool. So, and I see some more things popping up on community too. So thank you, my friends, for sharing that. So tying those two together, I am really excited to share with you something new that has unfolded for me when I was at Tracy's retreat. I know Teresa was there, Katerina was there. I don't think Karen's on, but I know that Carolyn is on as well. One of the ideas that came out of that retreat was I want to continue to build community with women, but travel with women. It has been such a fulfilling thing for my heart and something that I treasure and love. And I just crave deepened relationships. I have now formed, and we're launching it today, so I'm really excited that this is the platform I get to launch it on, is a new membership group that is called the Jet Set Sorority. So it's for women that want to travel together, that want to experience life together. And what we're going to do, and I'm going to have Paula pop the little picture in there that will explain a little bit more, but it's for women that want to travel together, for women that want to maybe experience life together in community, maybe those of you that want to go on adventures and try new things, but it's in a safe environment where we can do it together and kind of link arms and have some fun together. What's included in this is going to be, we have monthly where we're going to meet in our Jet Set Lounge, and that is going to be on Zoom. And it's going to be our meeting of Passport to Sisterhood socials. So we've tried to keep everything around this travel theme. And so we'll do that monthly. And I have a monthly theme lined out for every single month. Our first one is going to be in November. So I'll be launching that coming up. I think you can see the dates there. I have the first two set up. And the first one is going to be Passport to Collaboration. And the second one in December is going to be Passport to Celebrations. And it's going to be around holiday traditions. And we'll be bringing holiday traditions together. So all of that is planned for the next year. We'll have quarterly travel summits, and I've got those planned. Our next one is in January, and that is going to be our Tea and Travel Summit, where we're going to have an afternoon tea and talk about travel. I have one planned around journaling and travel journaling in April. In July, we're going to do one all about travel wellness, how to stay healthy and well when you travel. And then in, I think it's October, Sandy Okamoto, who some of you know, and I don't think maybe Sandy's on here, but Sandy is going to be all about traveling in style. And we'll talk about travel style and how we can do that. So I am super excited to launch this community. We'll have a private Facebook group. There will be intimate settings where we will be able to connect via Zoom. And then each of you that sign up to be in the sorority will get a travel gift mailed once a year when you become a member, but then when you renew your membership. And I hope I've got everything on there. I'm probably forgetting. I know that you'll have access to our trips. So we're going to plan several trips and then you'll have access to join those trips. I'm going to work with vendors on getting discounts, but I can't make promises on that because I don't know what the vendors will be able to do. So until that unfolds, I can't promise any of that, but I will do my best to always get you the best deals for sure. So 2 takeaways. Adventure, my friends, adventure doesn't have to be about something scary. It can be about doing something in community, in a safe environment, with friends. It can be all about staying curious. It can be all about learning and growing. But community is all about creating memories together. It's about linking arms and forming long-lasting, deep relationships. So I am just grateful for this opportunity to share this new community that I am building of jet set sorority travelers, women traveling together. And I think I have on my clock, I have 3 minutes left. I would love to open the floor to questions, but before we do that, I wanted to make sure that did I get everything? Yes, I'm going through my notes. I have my notes here. I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
Great. Does anyone have any questions for Stephanie before we thank her profusely for her amazing talk? I'm so makes me so happy to think about all of the potential of connecting and adventuring with everyone. Any questions before we close out? Leah, go ahead.
I was going to ask, if somebody were to plan a retreat, what's the first step to do that?
If you want to plan a retreat, well, it depends on how you want to plan it and how you want to structure it. So the first step is, what is your purpose? What do you want? What is the goal of the retreat? And that's really how I start with working with my clients. It's like, okay, well, what is the purpose? What are we trying to accomplish? Because sometimes that will dictate where you want to go. Because there are certain places that if your goal is more of a business focused retreat, I might not say, let's go to Rome, because Rome is going to get you all off track because you're going to want to do all the things, right? If your goal is to do something more focused, maybe Tuscany in a villa where you can still experience the culture, but be more contained. So it's really understanding what you want to accomplish first, and then from there, starting to plan it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I did see the flyer has the QR code if you're interested in joining, so you can join. It's $197 and you get 2 months extra free in that. So if you were to join this month, you would get November and December, and then the whole next year, and you would renew on January of 27. So, and we have several trips launching. So including Bali, where Kat's going to be speaking in Bali next year, and 2 years. It's 2 years. Yeah. So Kat will be speaking in Bali. I forgot what year is it. So yeah. Thank you, Tracy.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, I will say that I've already signed up. I know some of my other business besties have already signed up for Jet Set Sorority. It was such a gift to get to help foster that new idea and to see it launch during the retreat. I mean, it was literally less than a month ago that Stephanie came up with this big idea, and here it is, ready for all of you. So very exciting. I know, very exciting. All right. Well, don't forget, Stephanie, thank you so much. Like I said, I feel really very uplifted thinking about the potential of adventure and the potential of how to grow your community by allowing yourself the opportunity to adventure. It's so intertwined for me personally, and I know that is true for a lot of folks. we will have breakout rooms. Don't forget, after our next 2 speakers, like as I said earlier, we have 3 speakers in this first section. We're going to be moving on to our second speaker, but then Stephanie and both of our other speakers will also have breakout rooms. So if you have further questions, if you want to talk about Jet Set Sorority, if you have any thoughts of, questions about retreats, of course, Stephanie is co-hosting I don't even know what to call it. What's it called? The retreats program, Thrive with Retreats.
Thrive with Retreat.
Program and cruise with Katerina and a couple of other people are also key in that as well. I'm in that as well. That's going to be starting up actually in November and cruising in February. So very excited about that. So Stephanie's a big proponent or a big part of that as well. So any questions that you have related to travel, retreats, Jet Set Sorority, go to her breakout room. All right, my friend, thank you so much. Mwah. I'm excited to introduce our next speaker. And as she goes, like she's excited to be introduced because I know she wants to share what we're doing here. Lia Allen, one of our most engaged and biggest fans of the Gather community. I love that she loves all of us so much because she lets it out every time we're together. Lia has a new program that she has begun that is so exciting, and her talk is going to be referencing that. It is called Perk Your Way to Bold Business Growth. Now she put bold in there. It makes me happy, right? Perk Your Way to Bold Business Growth. And I'm going to let her explain, what does that even mean? If you haven't heard about her perk program, she's going to talk about that and talk about how it can help you move forward with your business goals. Lia, I'm super excited to welcome you to the platform. Please, my friend, take it away.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. And I want to start with a story of how I got engaged with the Gather community. So I met Tracy because she reached out to me through a direct message on Facebook and said, hey, I got the list of the people who are first-time attendees to Celebration. This was 3 years ago. And she said, I would love to connect with you one-on-one via Zoom so that we can get to know each other. And this way, when we walk into Celebration, we already know people. I thought, wow, that is so exciting. I was totally in and so impressed. So we had our one-on-one. And it was the most delightful conversation. I immediately felt like this is a person I want to get to know. She talked about the Gather community. She talked about what she's doing. And she told me about this 3-month trial thing. So I'm like, So after we got off the call, the Zoom call, I immediately went and clicked on the link and I signed up for the 3-month program. I didn't even think twice about it. I was like, I'm in. I want to check this out. By the time I got to Celebration, I was sold on Tracy, on the Gather community, and I was immediately engaged. So what I did is I immediately started showing up to everything she was doing. Honestly, I was like, wow, there's so many options. I was so confused, right? So then I jumped in there. And guess what? She did a follow-up afterwards. Towards the end of my program, she followed up with me and told me about some of the other things she had to offer. Well, by now, I am totally a Tracy fan. And so whatever she offered, I said yes to. So now here I am, a creator 3 years later, and I'm loving every minute of it. So what's the point of that? The point is that Tracy had a plan. She executed her plan. She probably reviewed it and see how is it working. And then she probably made changes along the way. And that's exactly what PERC stands for. It's plan, execute, review, and correct. And one of my goals with PERC is to help clients really be focused and not waste time. Because one of the things I've noticed is that time is like, for me, my biggest commodity. We all have 24 hours in a day. Nobody has extra time. And there is no extra time. And time is important. So we need to manage our behaviors in order to get the most out of our time. And that's what I teach. I teach how to manage your business behavior so you get the most. So one of the things I like to say is that when I teach people to build their business, you're not building your business because you got the most business cards. networking isn't about the person with the most business cards wins. It's the one who connects with the people who are on those cards. Connection is everything. So I want to talk about how to take perk and put it into your networking and connection plan. So when you do P for perk, perk stands for plan. And when you do the plan part, you want to be strategic. You want to make sure that you are talking to the right people. Well, in order to talk to the right people, you have to know who the right people are. So making sure you know who your niche is, making sure you understand where do they hang out, what groups are they in. If you are targeting lawyers, are you hanging out at a place where no lawyers are? Why are you wasting your time? You want to be strategic about that time. I knew immediately when I heard about the Gather community, that is exactly where I needed to be. I love working with women. I love working with business owners, especially small business owners. I also own a painting business. So I'm a multipreneur, a lot like Teresa, not quite as successful as Teresa, but definitely kind of like Teresa. I'm also 62 years old, folks. So like I have to really take care of my energy because I love what I do, but I also want to make sure I have time for fun. So I'm very strategic about the time that I spend. So I'm in BNI for my painting business because that's the best place to do for my painting business. But I'm in Gather community because I love to work with small business owners and help them network effectively. So knowing where to be and then knowing what to say when you're in those rooms. So that's part of your plan. You need to have your 30-second commercials ready. You don't want to just walk in and say, well, oh, what am I going to say today? You want to actually be prepared with a 30-second commercial. And it would be even better if the 30-second commercial is not only strategic, it is focused on what is the next thing you're promoting. So for example, I have my networking boot camp coming up at the end of the month. So when I walk into a room, I know that's what I'm promoting right now. I'm not going to talk about something coming up months down the road. I want to talk about the very next thing. So every week you want to kind of focus on, okay, when I go out and I talk to people today, what am I going to talk about? You want to make sure you're in the right rooms, and then you want to have a follow-up system set up. So the fortune is in the follow-up. We all know that, but we don't all do that. So I remember when I first started my business 30 some odd years ago, that I would come back, I would do a trade show. I would stand there at my booth and do my cool thing. And I'd come back with a big basket full of cards. And then I'm like, now what? A lot of times those cards were people just trying to get free things. So they weren't even qualified leads. So first of all, you need to know what a qualified lead is. And then you want to follow up and have a system, a CRM package. You want to make sure that you track what you're doing so that you know what you're doing is working. Katerina has a really cool template that she uses for tracking. And it's just a simple spreadsheet. It doesn't have to be fancy. So the next step is E for execute. So now you start, you've got your plan, you know what rooms to be in, you have your 30-second commercials put together, you actually know who you're speaking to and what you're speaking about. Now you start going into the rooms or going on social media, for example. But here's the key, we have to be consistent. For me, what I have found is a lot of start and stoppers. And when you do the start and stop, it's like you have to start all over again. It's really hard. If you keep the momentum going, you actually will grow. And it may be small. It doesn't have to be big momentum, but you have to do something consistently. Once a week is better than nothing. And once a week is better than 5 times in 1 week and nothing for a month, because honestly, it's really hard to keep that momentum going. So I see a lot of people where they get burned out because they got really busy, they went to a lot of stuff, and then all of a sudden they go, now what? So you want to have a plan and be consistent. So I suggest at least once a week networking. And if networking isn't comfortable for you, practice with friends until you get comfortable. That's one of the things I love to do, is teach people how to network effectively when they're in the room. Conversations, have real conversations with people. I go to my BNI group, I'm in DOTS, I'm all about my DOT community, and we have a fairly big group, but it's not enough just to show up to the room. Just because you're in the room doesn't mean you're going to get business. That's what people think. Oh, I went networking, so now all the clients are going to come in. No, it doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. You have to do follow-up. I think magic is in the one-on-ones. I do a lot of one-on-ones. When I sit down and have a conversation, belly button to belly button, let me tell you, I'm old school. That's how we did it back in the day. And I love it. And I can tell you every time I do a one-on-one, I can track where my where my referrals are coming are the people who I had one-on-ones with. So in BNI, we do one-on-ones. I met with I joined a new group. I had to switch groups because of date timing. And I met with this contractor who does remodeling and stuff like that. And we're painters. So I'm talking to, I'm getting to know him, and I'm really asking a lot of questions about how he does business. And then he asked me some questions, and I had said something in the BNI group when I got up one day to do my 30-second commercial. I said something about, well, we're not the flipper kind of painters. We're not bam wham, thank you ma'am type of painters. And so he thought I didn't want to work with people who flip houses. What I was trying to say, because I only had 30 seconds, was that we don't come in and do spray everything all white and walk out the door, and we're not going to be the cheapest. So when I sat down with him and we actually had a conversation, he said, so does that mean you wouldn't work with somebody who's just trying to turn a house around? I said, no, but I just want them to understand that we're not going to be the cheapest because we believe in quality. So we're not going to spray. We roll and we brush. And so we're different than the people who are coming in and doing everything all white, one color. And he said, oh, well, guess what? We just did a project for him, and it's going to be probably a flip, and we're going to get the job because we sat down and had that conversation. So I love taking the time. And when I'm sitting with someone, I'm taking notes, and I'm taking mental notes, and I'm trying to key into what's important. And here's the other thing I do, and a lot of people know this, is after I've sat down with somebody and had a one-on-one, even the guys, they laugh at me, but I get a picture. I do my one-on-one picture, and I post it, and then I promote them. Now, there have been a couple of people where I didn't feel comfortable promoting them because I wasn't sure yet. So I won't promote someone that I don't feel confident about. But when I sit down and have a conversation and I promote somebody, now other people know who these people are. So it's pretty exciting because I've actually had people going, hey, Lia, how come we haven't done a one-on-one yet? I want to be on your one-on-one list. So people are literally asking to do a one-on-one with me because they know that I do that. And that's fun. So the third letter is R for review. You want to review if the networking is working. Is there an ROI? I mean, let's be pragmatic. We don't want to waste time, and we don't want to waste money. I spend $2,000 a year on my BNI membership. So I need to get a lot of money back in return. So it has actually, I think I just ran the numbers, and we average about $25,000 a year back just from BNI. And those are the ones that I can actually track. There are other ones that come in that are still from BNI. So yes, it's worth $2,000 to get $25,000, but I've seen people stay in rooms just because it's fun, which is nice. But if that's what you want to do, you can pay for your friendships. That's cool. That's all good with me. But if you're there to make money, you need to really know whether this relationship is working. And you want to also make sure that when you're tracking and reviewing, what are you doing? Like if it's not working, say, am I doing something that is not effective? Am I not talking about the right things? Am I not saying the right things? Maybe my 30-second commercials aren't being effective. I've had people I've done a one-on-one with somebody, and when I sat down with them, I had a completely different understanding about their business because they did not know how to describe it in 30 seconds. So being really clear is important. And then identify where there are gaps in your networking, in what you're doing. When you do the review, you go, oh, wait a moment, I realized that I'm only talking to this group of people, and this is another place. And one of the things that when I'm doing networking, I'm not always looking for clients. I'm often looking for referral partners, people who will refer to me or I can refer to. So it's important to understand what you're looking for in that business relationship and what you're trying to get. So the fourth part is C, correct. And this is where it gets to be fun, because when you're really doing this well and you've got your plan, you're working your plan and you're reviewing your plan, now you say, okay, now that I know this is what's going on, what's working, what's not working, you get to adjust. So one of the things I tell people is the most important thing about correcting is your stop-do list. Most people are not having a stop-do list. And I think that a stop-doing list is as important as a to-do list. And I've actually eliminated several things out of my life because, not because I didn't like it, but because it wasn't productive. And I'm very cautious with my time because I take care of my mom, who is 83 years old. And I want to make sure I build margin in my life because I don't want to be working all the time. I'm all about having fun. I'm all about adventure, Miss Stephanie. And I'm all about connection and community, right? Yeah, let's do it. So if there's no time for it because I'm so busy trying to get through my to-do list and the to-do list is not working, what's the point? So I make sure I have a stop doing list. It could be, I'm not going to go to that meeting again. Or when I go to that meeting, I'm not going to talk to that person again. Because, sometimes when you go to a meeting, there's someone who monopolizes your time and doesn't release you, and you got to escape from that conversation. So you need to know how to manage those things. And the other thing is that you want to not be afraid to say no to people. It's okay to tell people this is not a good time. I can't be at that meeting. It's important to be protective. You also want to take a look at your follow-up process. What is working? What can you do differently? Maybe you followed up once. Maybe you need to follow up more than it takes 7 times typically to really connect with someone before they really make a decision, especially if you have a high ticket item. Low ticket items, not so much, but for a high ticket item, it can take a long time to build that relationship. So don't give up after the first time, but you need to have a process. So it could be something like a drip campaign. So the first time they get an email from you. The second time you can send them an article that, hey, I thought of you the other day and thought you might appreciate this article, just so that you become top of mind. The other thing is making sure that you have networking goals and strategies available. So when you put it all together, you want to make sure that you have a plan, you execute the plan, you review the plan, and I say review it every week, and then correct the plan. And so I want to share, when we started our painting business, we started it 4 years ago. And literally, my husband lost his job during COVID, 57 years old. What do you do when you lose your job? And things were crazy. Him and my son started talking, and before we knew it, we decided to start a painting business. We started it in 2021. From day one, we were profitable. We never lost money in the business, and and actually last year we tripled our business, which I'm very grateful for. I actually attribute that not only because my guys do great work, so you have to be referable, so people refer us all the time, but also because I network all the time. We never spent 1 penny on advertising. I did it all through social media and connecting with people. And I'm telling you, it works. And I know it's hard to believe, but it does work. If you work the plan, and you make a plan and work the plan, it works. So I just wanted to share that. It's kind of and I talk really fast because I'm from New York, even though I live in Pennsylvania now. But I wanted to really open it up for questions for anybody who might have any questions on how to do this, because that's where my heart is, sharing how to help people. Danya?
Yeah, I have a question for you. This has been percolating with me for a while, which is how to manage your follow-up Like do you like I use spreadsheets, I take notes in notebooks, but it's not in one central place. So I find myself kind of trying to find where did I write down that person's contact information and the notes about them. And I find that it's very scattered. So I'm just wondering if you have any tips or insight on either a tool that you use or a better way of managing that process.
Well, it depends. I always say you have to work with your own natural style, because if you try to do something because that's what everybody else's does and it doesn't
Sure.
work. So how would you naturally do it?
Well, the way that I've been doing it is, I guess, natural for me, but it's not the best way to do it. So, like I do when I'm in the networking groups or wherever. Well, I'm talking mostly virtual these days. I'm not doing a whole
Okay.
lot of in-person networking. Because in the past it was that I collect a bunch of business cards. I mean, I have boxes and boxes of cards I've collected over the years, and
Right.
eventually I had to just get rid of them because I was like, I don't even know who these people are. Um, because it's been that long, and if you don't follow up right away, it's like, okay, I guess not. It's mostly virtual, so I'll just take notes, right?
Okay.
I have a little note. I have a couple of different notebooks, and that's part of the problem too, is I'm not very organized in terms of having one notebook specifically for that,
Yeah.
where it's all in one place. So that's one thing I could,
So you just answered one of your questions, is you
yeah.
want to have one notebook where you
Yeah.
keep all of that, but also you can get a CRM. I use Go High Level. And Paula is my go-to for Go High Level. So if you have any questions, I would talk to her. And the other thing that you can use is there's a program called Mailbox Power. I think
Okay.
it's Mailbox Power, and it's a great tool. I use it all the time. And what you do is after you meet somebody, you go back to your office and you send them a link saying, hey, it was great talking to you. I would like to stay in touch with you. Would you fill this out so I have your contact information? And then you can set up an automation that you create, like maybe, and it does it automatically. You could set it up that they get a card. Thank you for talking to me. I look forward to meeting you. Because you work with health and wellness,
Yeah.
you could send them some kind of cool article or something that's in there. And Mailbox Power has all kinds of fun things in there, like you can send them food, you can send them a mug once you start building with them. But the
Okay.
main goal is to put them on a drip campaign, like a postcard. Maybe you could set up a series of postcards with tips, like about nutrition and health, and they could automatically get that. So, and
Yeah, I'm thinking more
then
in
you
terms
can
of
keep track of it in there.
Yeah, I'm thinking more about in terms of collaborating partnerships rather than potential clients, because I already
Oh,
have
okay.
CRM and all that stuff set up. It's more like how to keep track of like who do I need to follow up with. Like I had a conversation with someone, 3 months ago about an event happening in January, and I just remembered that, and I was like, oh, I should follow up and find out what's going on with that. But it'd be really helpful to kind of have that in one central place, I guess is what
One
I'm.
thing I have done in the past, and it kind of goes back to what Stephanie talked about with Franklin Covey, is
Mm,
if you have a really good calendar, you can actually put their name on a future date on your calendar. And when you open up that date, you say, oh, I want to follow back up with them a month later. And you
mm.
put it on that date to say, and that's your tickler to remind yourself that you need to follow up with them.
Well, that's a
And
good
you
idea.
can put a little note in there. And a really good
Yeah.
calendar with a daily reminder is really helpful.
Okay. That's a good thought. I never thought about doing that. Thanks.
Along those lines, real quick, if you have a CRM, you can probably put in a reminder on your CRM to get the notification that way too, depending on what your CRM is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think Stephanie had a question.
Yes, Stephanie?
I think when you were talking, you answered some of it, but my really quick, I'm sorry, Leah, I was writing notes, and then when you were saying stuff, I got so onto what you were saying that I missed
Sorry.
it. What was the no, it's a me thing because I'm writing notes, but the perk was plan, execute, relate,
Review
review, sorry.
and
then
correct.
correct. Okay. So okay, thank you. I
You're
love that.
welcome.
Thank you so much.
Oh, and
great.
so
Great job on the fun thing. I made a note in there because I think that's something I don't plan for sometimes. I get my schedule so full of this appointment, that appointment, this meeting, that meeting, this presentation, blah, 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 blah. And the end of the day, all I want to do is relax instead of what else can I do for myself? So thank you for reminding me that I need to make more time for the fun piece.
oh, I appreciate it. Well, let me tell you, I learned fun is important. So you're the freebie that you're getting is a networking avatar niche mapping template. I didn't even know what to call it, so that's a lot. But anyway, basically helps you identify your niche and where they hang out. So hopefully that will be helpful, because the first step is knowing who you're talking to and what you're talking to them about. And so that's in the freebie that you'll be getting.
Thank you,
Any
Leah.
other questions? And I didn't read the chat, so I don't know if there was anything in the chat that I should have been paying attention to, so.
I didn't see any questions in the chat. A couple of comments about fun and loving. Kat loves her giant wall calendar. I used to use a wall calendar, but honestly, I just live and die by my Google Calendar.
Yeah. So
And-
one thing I do once a year is I take a big giant wall calendar and I plan out my year. First, I put my vacations and families and birth dates and anything that's important to me on it first. And then I go and I start saying, okay, based on this, and let's say if you have any trips planned, I put those on there. And then I start to put in any seminars or webinars that I want to put in. And then I go to the people, like I would go to the Gather community and grab up any dates that I have from that, and maybe something that Katerina has. Because I want to make sure that what's important to me is on my calendar first, and then I go back and I get. So if you do that ahead of time, it's really helpful for planning purposes.
Absolutely. I love that. I'll share one other one if that's okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that Paula and I implemented for Gather Community several years ago was a kind of an at a glance thing that was not on my wall, because I used to have my wall calendar over there and I literally never looked at it because it was behind me. But we have a spreadsheet and every line is a week. And so week 1 through 52, we put whatever the date is of that Monday of that week, because it's work week. And, if something's going on and I'm going to be out, it's highlighted and it's indicated. If it's kids' spring break, if it's holidays, if it's polka dot celebration, if I'm going to be on a cruise, like all of those things go first, just like you said, Leah, because I can see 6 months on a screen and see how busy it is. And so then I can move things around week to week to week. It works really, really good. So that's that other thing. The other thing for notebooks is I have one notebook now. It's a Remarkable. And I stopped using I have a collection of 50 notebooks that I've gone through these last 13 years, but now it's all in one notebook. I only have to take one with me. I only have to take one traveling. And it syncs to my phone, it syncs to my computer. It's amazing. So if you're interested in talking about that, I'd be happy to share more about that. But Leah, thank you for making me the poster child of the perk program. If you want me to take a picture with a cup of coffee for your marketing, I'm happy to do that. But that was amazing. Your energy and the passion that you have for this subject is so apparent. And valuable. Like that, we all need help being more effective in our networking. I also loved how you said, go to networking once a week. Sometimes I have 3 things on my calendar, but if I don't have any, I know that my consistency is not quite right. And what else can I do? I should have one a week. That's my own, before you even said that, that was my own, not rule, but God, what I was trying to do is do one at least a week. It's all color coded. So I know if there's no yellow on my calendar, I don't have any networking scheduled. I should find something. Where could I go? So I love that. Really great. Any other questions? Erica, go ahead.
Leah, it's so great that you're offering a Get It Done group, your perk group, because I find like the barrage of everything you said, like I sort of go into like leaving my body. And it's great you're gonna have like finding the way to bring people together to have fun with it and do it together. I just say that's so cool. And that's how I get my stuff done, is I get on with others and do it together. And I find that for me, doing like 15-minute little chunks helps. And so I appreciate all the tips and support.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay, love that. Awesome, Erica. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Well, don't forget, if you have any other questions about Leah's perk program or all the other things she has to offer, she does other networking workshops, Get Clients Now, all these different things. So you can talk with her about that in her breakout room, which will be coming soon, but not quite yet. And of course, Stephanie will have her breakout room too. But our third speaker of our time together here this morning is the fabulous and amazing Paula Allen. I almost said Lia Allen again. The other Allen, not related. Paula Allen.
We could be. We're so similar. It's okay.
Right. Well, it's, Coffee Jesus and systems, right? It's basically all the good stuff.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So Paula, as I mentioned earlier in the chat, when Stephanie was talking, one of the ways I love building community through travel is going on cruises, since Katerina introduced them to me 7 years ago when we first met. And I think it might have been, no, it was Speaker Mastermind. So maybe like my third cruise with Katerina was when I met Paula. So that was, I don't know, it's literally was like 6 years ago, almost the very beginning. And since before Gather closed, since before the Gather community really existed, Paula was there to help me with what did I need to figure out to create this thing that was in my mind. And every month, almost every week, every month, every year since then, we've been collaborating to figure out how to make what I envision happen. And so Paula's going to be talking about it takes the right village, because it's all about building that network of support where, she is a big part of mine, and she's going to share how she does that for other clients, for her own team, for her own company, all of the things. So Paula, I'm excited to hear you talk about Takes the Right Village today. Please take it away.
Yeah. So in 1996, Hillary Clinton released a book called It Takes a Village, right? And you guys all know that because that was the motto of that century. And I think everyone was at least old enough to remember that. I have to watch it sometimes when I'm speaking, who I'm speaking to. And although that's a good thing, I think she left out a word. It's the right village, because that's actually what I thought. I have a degree in child development, and my background is helping parents and helping children, and just raising good human beings. And I think that a village is you're going to find a village. Community is in our blood, right? We need community. We can't survive on our own. You know that by watching, there's movies, documentaries of people that tried it, and they don't assimilate well, and they never really are all like connected. Their connections just don't get met without the village. So it's really, really important. But I'm going to switch and talk about business for your village, for your right village today, even though I think that this goes into your family, into your communities, into everything, because I can tell you that I've been in community business building communities that were absolutely amazing, doing wonderful things, but they didn't align. And I love that Stephanie talked about values. And I'm going to talk a little bit about values and culture as well toward the end of this, but because that's what matters, right? That is where you're going to build the right community for yourself. That's where you're going to work on it. And so I think the first thing is to work on identifying the key players in your village. Who's in your village, right? I know a lot of, especially women entrepreneurs, we're all women on here today, so that their husbands don't support their business, and it makes it really hard to have that business, because you have to have that support. You have to have that just someone building you up. I mean, you're not so it's like you hear people that talk like that, and yeah, I know, asking you what you even do. That's the other thing, is like, my family will support me all day long, but they have no clue what I do all day. They're like, what do you do? Like, all they know is that, we do lots of fun things together when I'm with them. They have no clue. And so I'm sorry, I can't stop my back end brain. But so building that right village. So it does start at home. It starts with that, and they don't have to know what you do, they just have to support it, right? And it's like, it's okay. Usually they're pretty happy if you bring in some money and you get to eat, and play and do the things, right? And whatever, it's like, it's all right. And that's my family, my kids. As long as my grandkids get a new book every once in a while, they're in heaven. They couldn't care less what anyone does, right? But then, so you've got your personal key players, but then you also have your business key players, and those are really important. And one of the things that really gets people caught up is they try to make one person that key player, and it can't be. You have to have multiple. Building a community in your business is really important. It's really important to look at who it is. Like Tracy said, her and I work really closely together on her things, and we've become pretty good friends over the years. We like a lot of the right things. I've watched all the developments of her children and things like that, and I've done that with a lot of my clients. And so it's kind of that way. But also, she has a coach. We hire other people to do other things, so that we have a team. It's not all dependent on one person, because I can tell you, no matter who that one person is, or if it's you, which normally a lot of times it is, that eventually you can't grow and scale that way. So you need to start looking at that. And your team could be, I know Kat and Leah meet once a week to touch base and have accountability and things like that. That is part of your team. So even if you're doing a lot of it yourself, you have someone to bounce those ideas off of, because you get so tunnel visioned into what you're doing that you don't realize your own spinning. You'll start doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results. And so you have to like step back and talk about it. Your business is, you're not inside of it, you're on top of it, looking at it from the overhead, and being with accountability partners, being with a coach, being in communities where you go, oh, that's a great idea. Like Danya was just asking about, I mean, I can talk systems all day long, and I could give her, and I love that Leah said that it's what works for you, right? The system is what works for you. And that's always what I say. If it's working for you, don't touch it. If it's not working, that's when you need to fix it. Because it's like, if it's working for you, it's working for you. It doesn't matter if everyone else thinks you're crazy with the way you do it. If it works, it works. If it's efficient, I will say a little bit. Sometimes it might work, but it takes you 4 days to get it implemented, and then we got to look at that a little bit as well. But so the key players. So who are the key players that are helping you in your business? They could be, and getting the right people in the right positions. So that's, once you get people in, then you're like, are they doing the right thing? I will say that I had someone who worked for me for over 5 years, and I let her go because she just never got it. And I could not find a position where she fit. I was like, I tried everything. I tried everything from being like one position all the way up to, I even tried her being a manager, right? And helping, and it just did not work because she didn't understand my business. She didn't understand what I was doing, and I couldn't teach it. I was like, I don't know what else to teach you. And I'll tell you, that was the best thing that I ever did. And I probably should have done it a year earlier than I did. Not for me, but for her. She went out and found and is absolutely doing an amazing job somewhere else, in a position where she should have been to begin with that time. But until I did that, she had, it kind of made that happen. And I've done that even in volunteer positions. I used to run a nursery at a big church. So the kids program at a big church in California. And I had, when I first took over as the person running it, one of our very dear friends came to me, and he's like, my wife and his daughter were running the 2-year-old room. And the 2-year-old room, if you've never been around 12 2-year-olds at the same time, it's a little crazy in there. The 2-year-old room is always the hardest one to fill, and the hardest one. But I can tell you, teenage boys and girls love the 2-year-old room, because those kids are so cute still at that age, and they're crazy, and teenagers are crazy anyway. So it doesn't matter. So it's like, but he came to me and he was like, she wants to step down. She wants to go start a dance ministry. I go, so, and he goes, but no one else fill her spot. I go, until you leave, I can't fill that spot. Until she goes, I can't fill that spot. And that's not up to you to keep her there, just in case we're okay. I'll go run the 2-year-old room while we're finding someone, You know, it's like not a big deal, or someone will. We'll figure it out. I'll put I'll make my teenager come in and do it at that point in time. I had teenagers at home. And so we'll figure it out. So we and I tell you, I got an amazing people in there running that 2-year-old room, but she had to leave. So not only is identifying your key players, but making sure they're in the right spots and they are the key players in your company. Are they your culture and values? Do they understand? Are they ready to take on the roles as leaders? Because I can tell you that if you're developing leaders in every position, that will help you immensely. And whether that is the person scheduling your social media or the person, you know, whatever, they're still a leader in that, because they need to bring to you what they need. So you have to cultivate that. You have to cultivate those values and things like that. No different than raising kids. You don't want to put them around someone who's not going to cultivate the right things in them, right? You also want to do that with your business, making sure that you're cultivating the right things in the people in your business. Part of your team is also the tools and tech that you use. So I always have to talk about tools and tech, but I always say they're part of your team. If they're not controlling, if they're outside of your bounds and they're not working for you, then they're not a good player on your team. So it's like, let's get that fixed, right? I mean, in this day and age of so many products and everything else, believe me, something will work. And literally, if you probably put it in AI going, I'm having a problem, what tool should I use? It will probably give you 5 or 10 different ones to try. But you can also ask people, like, what do you use for this and things like that. So like Danya, when she asked the question about lead management, it was everything from spreadsheets to programs, right? There's programs that manage your leads and will send you a notification and do all your things like your CRM system, like Carrie said, or whatever you're using. And that will send you a notification. But there's also, you know, a spreadsheet is fine if a spreadsheet works for you. We use a lot of spreadsheet stuff. Believe me, my Google Drive is full of them. And but I will say that it is going to slow down your business if when someone says, hey, can I get on your calendar? And it takes you 2 days to get back to them because you don't know your calendar link. You know, things like that. And the biggest thing is not making sure that you're not losing money in the process. Like Leah was talking about with the networking, the biggest part of that is the follow-up, right? What are you doing afterwards? What is going on with that? Because otherwise, you know, you're out there for business, you're working. That is your hourly, you know, if you wanted to break down how much you make an hour, you've got to put the networking as part of that, right? So, and Lee, I have a new term for you. It's return on relationship. What's the return on the relationship? Yeah. So who was I talking to? I was talking to somebody about that this week. Was it you? And so instead of return on investment, return on a relationship. I love it. And so Tracy has a new term for you. She's the one that brought it to me. And I was like, I love that. And what is the return? And it's not, and sometimes it's not money. There's a group here in Nashville that I found, and it's called Our Gathering Table. They have a business arm, but I can tell you that I have someone I walk with once a week because of that. And literally we were having coffee at one of their meetups one day, and she goes, will you be my friend? So I will, let's do this. And we've become really good friends. And I mean, we have the same, you know, she's also an entrepreneur. So we know what our language and all the things. So it's kind of fun to find those kinds of relationships too, and those kinds of people as part of your team, because she's also, while we're talking, you know, she's an entrepreneur. So we talk about business and we talk about different things, and we do it. So the other part of your team that I want to talk about is your collaborations. That's also where I've been working really hard to build collaborations this year. So it's on my heart and on my thing, because everyone has collaborators that they need to be working with, but they need to be in line with you. And I'm going to be very blunt and say you have to have a good boundary, know what the expectations are in that collaboration. So and they need to be written out, just because I've had many collaborations go wrong because I didn't we didn't lay out the expectations at the beginning. And so people get stuck assuming things, and we all know what, assuming is not a good thing. We need it in paper and writing. And we just had a little one. I'm doing a workshop next month with 2 other women. And over the weekend, they were going back and forth and asking me to fix things. And I'm like, no, I don't work on Sundays. So send this all to my email and I'll get to it next week. And the one knew that, but the other one I don't know very well. And she didn't know that. And she goes, oh, I didn't know that. She goes, this is when I do the majority of my work. Okay. It's like, that's fine with me. And so we had to talk about it a little bit because we didn't set that expectation. I didn't set that expectation that, don't forget, I don't care when anyone works, but if you send me something on Sunday, I'm not answering it. And so, and this Sunday we got to dedicate that new little baby in our family. So I was gone most of the day, but, yeah, it's like, so set those expectations. I think that's where a lot of collaborations and partnerships go wrong, is that the expectations don't work. And even in your house, the expectations don't work sometimes, right? And that's where you can practice setting those expectations, because you can say, oh, I expected this to happen. But now, and then you have to manage your own feelings through that, because all of it, when it's family and when it's personal, it gets really kind of muddy, right? And so just make sure that when you're doing these partnerships, collaborations, and things, that they're complementary. I always say, and that's with an E, not an I. So you don't want to do things with people just like you, that are doing the same exact thing that you're doing on the same lane you're doing it. You want to do them with people who are complementary to you, that are doing something a little different, a little to the side, that you can plug into really well. So in my business, that works out really well because I do all the tech and no one else, and the coaches a lot of times don't do it. But also, even in all businesses, like, like Lia just said, mailbox power was something that she uses as a part of collaboration, right? So she goes to Mailbox Power and she uses that, but then she goes out and shares it with other people. It's not something that she does as part of her business, but she uses it in her business. And so it works out really well for her. There's a ton of different ways that we could look at it, depending on the business, on what you're doing. Even partnering with other organizations that are doing, a lot of coaches find jobs with other organizations, coaching under their, getting certified in coaching under theirs. But there's also lots of workshops and all the things you can do. That all the live events are coming back. It's kind of fun to see them. I'm in Nashville, so I get every ad possible that comes to a conference center here, so I get to see everything that's going on in town. And so yeah, it's just looking at all of that and making sure that you're building the right village. Right. So start thinking about, who are you missing in your village, and who maybe is not the right person in the right spot in your village. So those are my takeaways. I want to make sure that you know that you need to build a village, but it's got to be the right village. It can't just be any old village that you pop into. I am building my own village. One of the ways I'm doing is I'm relaunching my Dream Team directory. And my freebie today is a free spot in that directory for 3 months. And basically what it is just a directory that I can send people to, because I think one of the things that Donnie was talking about was, I've talked to so many people, and I know, because she's been in business a long, long time too, online. And it's like, I know so many people. So when someone says, who do you know that does this? You're like, the Gather community people I know well, but sometimes it's like, I know I met someone in DOTS that did that. Let me think, hold on. And then you have to go off and search for that person. And then you forget who asked you. Because I'm also not 12 anymore. So I'm going to forget a little bit. Right. And so then I forget, oh, who was it that asked for that? Once I finally find out who it was. And so what I did was I put together a directory. We're actually rebuilding it right now into a different way of looking. I didn't like the way it looked before. And so it'll be done by the end of this weekend. But if you fill out that form, you'll get a spot in the directory. And it's basically just so everyone can say, anyone who's connected to me and anyone I meet. I do tons of networking. I'm always out talking to people. That I can say, go to my directory. I know there's someone in there that does that. Go to my directory. I know there's someone in there that does that. Right. And so that's why that's there. And I think that's it. Does anyone have any questions or want to remark about your wonderful village? And if, go ahead, Leah.
I just want to say that that's super important to me, is creating a village, because when you work by yourself and you sit in this, like, I'm sitting here in my beautiful office that inspires me, but sometimes you feel like you're creating in a vacuum, and like Kat and I bounce ideas off of each other all the time. And if she's having a bad day, she can say, "Ah," and I can just be there to support her. And so I really encourage to add to your village to have at least one accountability person that you can just touch base with. We do it weekly, and we also text each other every day pretty much, so.
And I have the one in the face. I have a couple Facebook messengers that are just memes we send back to each other depending on the day and time. Go ahead, Stephanie. I think you raised your hand.
Well, I was going to say, I think, I think of what you said is the village thing is so important, but I think of it as a virtual co-working space. These are people that I am literally co-working with, that I know I can send people to, based on what I maybe don't do or what I can't fill. So having that is such an important piece. And I loved, the village analogy is a great analogy. I love that as well. But I love thinking of it as a virtual co-working office. I have all these little co-working people that I can just pop people into. So I'm looking forward to getting your directory and learning more about how I can help support those people as
Cool.
well.
Thanks. Yeah.
Awesome.
Anybody else? All right, Miss Tracy.
All right, my friend. Yeah, Tina says, I love co-working session, makes you feel like I'm not alone. And that's really what it comes down to, is that we're not doing this alone, right, Paula? We
Right.
can't. And
Right.
if we think we can, we're a little delusional.
And as an extreme introvert sometimes, and a person whose energy drains really fast, I had to fight this because my thing is not to get community, but I know that I don't thrive when I don't have a community.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm really, really good by myself, and no, I'm better when I have people around me, because you do get lost in your own world. You get
Yeah. And like you said, managing your energy. Sometimes when you're tired, you think that it's just going to be easier if you withdraw from everyone else. But really, maybe it's easier if you connect with someone else to be able to leverage those relationships to have support, because we feel better when we have it. I love it. All right, my friend. Well, thank you so much. And, I definitely will vouch for Paula and her ability to leverage the communities that she's built. I get to have the benefit of all of that in my business with her support and her team's support, and being here in the Gather community. Paula was here right from the very beginning as well, not just supporting the back end, but being one of our founding creators, along with Erica and Katerina. They've been here since day one of what the Gather community was, is, and will become, hopefully. And it's so wonderful. I can't speak enough to the value of all of that. So thank you, Paula. Beautiful.
I think
Okay,
even when we were in the planning session for it, I said, I'm in, whatever,
yeah, whatever we're making, because and that's really what it comes down to, is because that there's value in cultivating those connections. And since we had and it's the value match too, right? You knew that I was good for it. I knew that you're good for it. So we're good together. It's all good. All right, my friends, it's time for breakout rooms. I am excited to offer you that opportunity. Donnie, are you still here? No, she already left. Okay, she sent me a message.
No, she's here.
Oh, wait, where?
I'm here, but I have to hop off,
Oh,
unfortunately.
there you are.
Recall.
I don't know why. I know, but you said something. Oh, my notebook. Okay. I'm like,
Yeah.
notebook. Okay, no problem. We'll talk.
The one that you held up.
Yeah, the one that I held up. I got it. No problem. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to learn more about that. Maybe tomorrow we can.
Yeah, we can touch base
later.
on it later.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
my friends, it's time. Yep, we'll see you soon.
Okay. Ciao.
Bye. See you tomorrow. Okay, so Danya had to go, is going, and we're going to do breakout rooms for our speakers, Stephanie and Leah and Paula. I know that, you might want to ask questions of each person, and you can totally do that. If you're in there and you're like, hey, you know what? Thank you for answering my question. I'm going to go over there because I want to ask that person a question, or tell them how much I enjoyed their talk, or whatever you want. Since there's not very many of us, feel free to move around, right? I can totally manage that. Even though Paula's going to be in a breakout room, I can manage it. I'm okay. I can make it happen. So let's, do you already have the rooms set up, my friend? Okay, so Paula's got the room set up. We're going to do breakouts for 10 minutes for each speaker, and then we'll come back and do a quick reset before we take a break. So don't use this as your break time. Connect with their speakers and each other, and we'll see you back here in 10. If you can't get yourself to the room, tell me where you want to go and I will put you in there. Go ahead, Paul. All right, here we go. So we're going to put Leah in Leah's room, and Stephanie in Stephanie's room, and Paula's going to her room. Who can I help get to a breakout room, my friends? Happy to support you. Just come off mute and tell me where you want to go.
I've got another call at the top of the hour, but it was good to see you. And
okay, Carrie, I'm so glad that you came.
yep, I hope to have more time to pop in more often now.
All right, yeah, great. Hope to see you again soon.
I don't have
Teresa, where would you like to go?
put me in Paula's room.
Erica, where would you like to go? Or Kathy or Finiana? Finiana, where would you like to go?
Wherever you put me is fine.
All right, my friend, here you go. Erica, where would you like to go? Kathy, where would you like to go?
I'm just organizing my brain for what I'm about to do.
For you're about to do. All right, my friend. Kathy, are you there? Would you like to go to one of the breakout rooms?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't.
I guess I don't have
Say that again.
You can put me in one of the breakout rooms.
Okay, here you go.
Networking, getting comfortable on it.
Okay, great. Here you go.
Which breakout